What's going on, everybody? Chaseontwowheels here in front of Mountain Motorsports in Roswell, Georgia, and in front of us, guys, I've got the 2023 Ducati Multistrada V4. This is the Rally Edition. I just recently rode a V4 Pikes Peak that I absolutely loved. You guys should check that one out. This one is more on the touring side instead of the sport side. You guys know, I love Multistradas. Today's a great day. You guys buckle up. Today's going to be a fun ride. It's a first ride. Let's see what it looks like and let's see what it sounds like. So guys, this first start is not sponsored, but it is supported by WBRgarage.com. That's my website where I do bike builds, and then I give those bikes away when I get done building them. Currently building a 2018 Yamaha R6, turning it into like an R6M style thing. It's going to be really neat. If you guys want to win that motorcycle when we get done building it, you can go to the website. You can grab merch, you can grab memberships, you can grab whatever you want, and it will get you entries into win the motorcycle. The website does all the contabulation in the background. You guys just got to support over there, and you could win yourself a motorcycle. Massive shout out to any of you guys already over there supporting us. You guys are fantastic. All right, guys, that's it for it. Let me get my phone on my quad lock that I actually brought this time. God, I love this brushed aluminum look. It's so good. Okay, let's get on this thing and let's see what the Rally Edition gives us on the Multistrada. Alrighty, guys, I am 5'10", I got a 32-inch inseam, and both feet can touch the ground, so that's good, but I am tippy-toe on both, so keep that in mind. It is a little bit taller of a bike, but from what I've been able to see, there are a lot of different seat options to lower the seat height if you are a shorter rider. And with all that being said, guys, we are going to start out in urban mode. That is as opposed to enduro, touring, and sport. The only mode we will not be touching today is enduro. First rides are a road-only course, so we will not be going into enduro. Although, Ducati, if you would like to loan me one of these, I would be glad to make all types of videos for you. So guys, as I navigate through this parking lot, if you guys are into Discord, we've got an awesome motorcycle Discord community that you should totally check out. Links in the description down below. It's totally free and full of motorcycle enthusiasts just like yourselves. And since nobody is here, we're going, fam. Yay! Alright, guys, so today we are on the Multistrada V4 Rally. It's so fascinating to watch Ducati take their Multistrada, which is already a motorcycle that is good in almost every scenario it can be put in, and now they're making mods and versions of the motorcycle that are even better in certain areas. So for example, that Pikes Peak that I rode recently, incredibly down the sporty path, very sporty features. And here today we have the Rally, which is the hardcore touring model. We're going to talk about all the differences of this bike versus the regular Multistrada V4 in today's video. I love that they're like doubling down on this platform. You guys know how much I've fallen in love with the Multistrada platform. It's going to be an awesome ride today, guys. But as you know, it is a first ride, so let's talk about body position on the V4 Rally. So guys, the current seat that I have on the bike is a little harder and it feels taller up. My legs are not cramped at all. My back is almost all the way upright, and I'm leaning forward a little bit to get to the handlebars, but I'm in a very relaxed position here. My legs specifically I think are the standout feature. They are just not crunched up at all. If you couldn't tell, with the taller seat height, it's already like kind of skewed towards taller riders, but the seating position is even better for taller riders. You're gonna be so comfortable here. I'm 5'10", like I said, so I don't see a height where this bike would become uncomfortable. All right, guys, I got to my regular spot. I'm done with touring mode. Now, look, touring mode's fantastic. You guys know the V4 is a fantastic platform, and you get like, what, 170 horsepower and I think almost 90 foot-pounds of torque. Urban mode destroys that. You can see power is in mode low. So in touring mode, power is now up to medium. So we're going to pop into touring mode. As we continue our way towards the highway here, we can check out the hill hole. We'll do a long press in on the front brake, and you see that little glowing H. The bike will not go anywhere right now. That is actually a fantastic feature for a motorcycle like this, where you're going to be stopping on hills and stuff like that if you're touring on it and putting big miles on it, which you absolutely should do. This bike is literally made for that. All right, so guys, as we're going through the city here, let's talk about the electronics real quick on this bike. You got everything, man. It's a $30,000 Ducati. It is a premium model. You have the cornering ABS, traction control, wheelie control. Ducati has thrown the entire thing at this bike, and the standout features that this bike has is going to be the radar cruise control, which I'll show you guys on the highway, as well as blind spot monitoring. If I have my turn signal on and the radar detects somebody coming up behind me, they will actually blink. Oh my God, the bike's lifting up right now. Oh, that's awesome. So if at a red light you want to lower the bike down, you just hold the suspension button and it goes from auto, you hold it in, you go to minimum, you can literally feel the preload letting out of the rear shock. And look at that, I got a whole foot down. I can almost get both whole feet down. Oh, that's awesome. And if I hold it again, what does it go to? Auto. And look, it's lifting up. That's awesome. I love that it's a single button press and you can do that. Alrighty, guys, so as far as composure and how the bike handles itself in the city, you are going to have a heavier bike here. There's no way of getting around that. I believe this bike is coming in at 573 pounds wet, like ready to go on the road. It is a bigger motorcycle, but one of the things Ducati just works miracles on is how maneuverable such a big motorcycle can be. The bike does have rear cylinder deactivation, so under low RPMs, it will actually deactivate the rear two cylinders, the ones closest to the rider, and gives you a little better fuel economy and stuff like that. You can hear the difference in the audio. But going back to how the bike handles itself on the street, you've got a relatively wide handlebar here. I'm taller up as a rider, and I can just whip this bike around. It makes no sense. And you guys that have never ridden a Multistrada, I don't think you're going to understand it. You guys that have ridden one, please comment in the comments down below so everybody else can understand. It is an incredibly strange feeling how well Ducati has balanced a motorcycle that is this incredibly big. You would think that this thing would be a nightmare riding it on the streets because of the size of it. It's really not. It's incredibly maneuverable. Can you tell that the bike is really heavy? Yes. Does that slow you down from doing anything like slow speed balancing or whipping it back and forth in a lane? Absolutely not. You guys know my favorite thing about Multistradas is the balance of them. I love playing this little game. How slow can Chase go? My whole goal is to get to 0 on the miles per hour. That. That is only something you can do on a bike that's incredibly well balanced. And you guys saw the bike when I got on it. I've got the bags on it. I've got the Ducati bags that come on this bike, which, by the way, I've seen photos of this bike without the bags. You need to have the bags on there. This bike looks so complete with these side bags on. It's also like the long distance touring thing. You need the bags. I absolutely love it. Oh, that's so cool that you can literally hear the cylinders activating after you sit at a red light for a second. Another thing that I think a lot of you guys are going to be surprised about with a Multistrada V4, specifically the Rally, but it's the same engine on all the bikes. The composure that the V4 has at low speeds is honestly impressive. And we all know the V4 is a little more of a horsepower thing, less of a torquey thing from the last Multistrada. But in a situation like this where you're kind of like very chill going, it makes for such a better riding experience because the bike is just composed and it's very okay with being ridden very slow. But that V4 handles itself so much better on in the city streets. It's, you know, it doesn't have that torquey vibe. So if you're looking for that torquey vibe, you know, maybe the Multi 1260 is the better bike for you. All right, enough of the slow speed stuff. I want to get going. I want to actually use this V4 and not talk about how well composed it is at slow speeds. Going. Absolutely going through that. That's the V4. That's what I want. It's great at slower speeds, but my goodness, get them revved up, baby. To a stop, not moving, feet down. The balance is so good. Ducati have worked magic with the Multistrada. I don't know how they've gotten the balance like they have, but I love them for it. I really do. Also, check this out. That is a little phone compartment that has a ventilation so your phone doesn't overheat. How cool is that? And there's a charger thing so you can charge your phone and put it in there. Because, as you probably can guess, the Multistrada does have Ducati Connect, their proprietary stuff where you connect your phone, you can take phone calls and listen to music and stuff like that inside the motorcycle, which is really cool. If you're doing some long thing, you can put your phone in there and it's all safe. So now we're upping the speed a little bit, still in the city, and still this platform, this V4 is so good, and the balance of the bike is so composed it makes me want to go crazy because I'm stuck in traffic. That's what it wants. Don't give it too much though, because you will get arrested. This bike is one of those bikes, man, where it's very hard to find or put it in a perspective where it doesn't perform well. It just acclimates to whatever you want to do, and it's just extremely okay with it. Are you just on city streets kind of like meandering around doing whatever? It's very okay with that. It's not shaky and vibrating. Do you want to up the speed and go quicker? It has ample power. It's just literally okay with anything. And this one with upgraded suspension, this has the skyhook suspension still, like the V4S, but it has a little more suspension travel so you can take it off-road if you dare. Where I want to take it is right up here on the highway. Alrighty guys, we are going to see how fast the 2023 Ducati Multistrada V4 Rally gets from 40 to 80 miles per hour. Thanks to our buddies over at Law Tigers. Hopefully I will not need them today, but if you guys need a motorcycle attorney, they are the guys to go with. Alright, I think second gear is the way to go. We're going to let the traffic go up a little bit because I'm going to need a runoff lane. Alright guys, 40 to 80 pull on the V4 Rally. On your mark. God, get set. Hold your butts. Go. Oh, that's a wheelie. That is too. Okay. That wheelie control did a great job. I felt the wheel come up, and it held it there, and it was very okay with it. All right, guys. This is the proving ground. This is what this bike was made for. The highway. Let's see how she goes. First off, we are in 6th gear. We're chilling at the highway speed. The engine is not vibrating at all. My handlebars are not vibrating at all. The bike feels like it is just taking a nap right now. As far as how much wind I'm getting wind at the very tip top of my helmet, but one finger, that comes up. This is a modified windscreen for this model. Gives you a little more protection. And right now, the wind is going straight over my head with that. I am getting the smallest bit of wind on my upper shoulder, but only just. It's nothing that I would worry about or complain about. I've got nothing impeding me right now. Obviously, this is a bigger motorcycle. It has a lot more physicality to it. It's going to block a lot of that wind. One of the really cool features of this bike is adaptive cruise control. It has a radar in the front that will modulate its speed, so we'll get the cruise control set. And the bike, you can see it's set to 70 miles an hour. Let's set it way higher than that. All right, the bike is now set to 77, right? The little green number right there. The car in front of me is only going 66. And I can modulate how far or how close I want to be with the little plus and minuses here. This is working fantastic, and though it's not used for every situation, if you're doing crazy miles on the highway, that is going to be clutch. Here's the big question I have. Can I put the throttle forward to deactivate? I can! Haha! Ducati, thank you so much. I love you. Alrighty, guys, what else on the highway? I'm not going to touch on power because, I mean, I think that would be a really dumb thing to touch on. It's got so much. It's got literally so much. It's fantastic. The bike is incredibly planted here on the highway and is doing a phenomenal job. There is nothing I could want for the highway. I love the body position because I'm not crunched up at all. I would be so comfortable for so long here, and I'm still loving this seat. It might be the perfect firmness. So guys, I'm gonna finish up the highway here real quick. In the meantime, Cardo, play me a montage for the best road trip music. Unfortunately, my friends, the highway is done. We got to get off this thing and do the big turn. Thank you, Cardo, for sponsoring the First Ride series. If you guys want Bluetooth communicators on your helmets, there is nothing better than Cardo. I have one on right now, and I literally cannot ride without it. I love listening to music. So, Cardo, thank you for sponsoring. I got a discount link for you guys in the description down below. Let's get this thing leaned over, see how she feels. We are in sport mode. We are in automatic suspension. Bro, rails. Absolute rails. I just like, I'm chilling. Oh God, I don't know how fast I went through that, but I promise you I could have gone 3 times faster. This bike should not feel this good leaned over. What kind of black magic did Ducati do? All right, guys, let's talk about this V4 Granturismo engine. I kind of love it. It's one of my favorite engines on the market right now. I love how adaptable and controlled it is at any environment. Down low, it's super smooth and easy to ride. If you want to get on the highway and you want to rev this thing out, you get all of the excitement just coming out of it, just oozing out of it. I am not able to find an environment that this engine doesn't be like, I'm gonna rock that out and have no problem with it. At least for road use, that is. So you guys should understand at this point that this V4 Granturismo, absolutely phenomenal engine, and it could only be surpassed by this skyhook suspension. Ducati's been doing the skyhook on the Multistrada for quite a while now, and I've done a lot of first rides on bikes with electronic suspension that's automatic. Of all the bikes I have personally ridden, I don't know if a suspension is better than the skyhook that Ducati puts on the Multistrada. It just effortlessly adapts to whatever I'm doing, and I'm noticing I'm using the word adapt a lot, and I guess that's what this bike is. It's the master of all roads. It does whatever you want it to do, and it doesn't cause a fuss at all. I love the suspension. It's soft when I need it to be. I can throw it into sport mode. It's firmed up. I can lower myself, which is a really cool feature that Harley brought out with the Pan Am. Because Ducati has an electronic suspension in their Multi, it's just like, okay, cool. We'll start offering that as well. So shout out to Harley for coming up with the idea. Also shout out to Ducati for putting it in their motorcycles that are, you know, electronically able to do that. The skyhook suspension is my favorite. I've said it on multiple videos. It is absolutely fantastic. If you guys have not tried it out, I highly recommend it. You need to check that out. Now, one of the interesting things that I'm noticing with this motorcycle is the quick shifter. No surprise, bike has a quick shifter up and down, right? Nobody's surprised by that. You should expect that on a motorcycle that costs somewhere around $30,000. Now, one of the really interesting things about that is that the quick shifter on this V4 Rally feels better to me than the quick shifter did on the Multistrada Pikes Peak Edition, which is their more sport-oriented model. For this quick shifter, I get a good firm press that I need to press. I'm okay with that. But then the release and the actual shifting somehow just feels like a better package than the Multistrada Pikes Peak. I had to hit that bike too hard on the quick shifter to really get the shift engaged, and I didn't really feel connected with the bike. That is not like it on this bike. The whole shifting experience is really nice. I'm down for that 100%. And real quick, we can talk about the gearing, and that kind of goes with the engine talk. This gearing is a little taller, but that allows you to really start revving it out if you want to. But the bike has so much power, if you want to lug it through the gears, it has no problem. Since we're at a little higher speed, let's check out the brakes. Because they're great. Phew! On bikes like this that have, you know, we got Brembos front and rear. I'm always worried on bikes like this because I'm looking at the cars in my rear view and I'm like, please nobody be riding right behind me because this bike can stop quick, which is another thing you don't expect on a motorcycle that's this big. You know, this is a big bike. You got a lot of weight moving around and the brakes are fantastic. The really cool thing about the brakes is with the auto leveling on the suspension, it can help the bike. Like a normal bike would just dive down a lot when you put all that weight towards when it shifts to the front suspension. With electronic suspension though, it can adjust for stuff like that on the fly. It's fantastic. Oh look, I'm on a hill. This is what the bike wants to do. All right, pull that in, hill hold, bike's not going anywhere. I love this spot to show you guys hill hold because I am now sitting here. Here, I'll sit even lower. I'm now just sitting on my lowered Ducati Multistrada Rally with hill control on, and I'm relaxed. Nothing's going on for me. And 2 taps of that, put it into first, and we're off. Oh no, I forgot to change my suspension mode. I'll now have to change it by holding a button, and it goes to auto, just like that. Oh man, for a really complicated motorcycle, they make this thing easy to ride. Alrighty guys, let's talk about the controls up here. You know, I said the same thing on my Pikes Peak Multistrada video, guys. When you're spending this much on a motorcycle, I want you guys to have an incredible high bar for what controls should feel like. And that bar should be what a Ducati Multistrada feels like. Every button has the perfect feedback. Every button has like a really good feel pressing it in, and they are also a high premium feel. Grips feel great. I would not need to replace these grips at all. The only thing I kind of comment on is the levers. They're blacked out, they're in a good position, and they're adjustable. I love all of that. But I would love for levers to start having a little bit more texture on them, just so I can get a better feel on them. And the lever feels are great. I will say they're a little heavy, similar to the Pikes Peak. I don't necessarily have a problem with it, but I could see myself, if I was in traffic and just like stuck there like rush hour traffic, my clutch hand might get a little tired. Just something that could happen over time if you're in really terrible traffic. Moving on, let's talk about the screen. Probably my favorite screen overall. The only screens that I think are a slight smidge better are the resolutions on the BMW screens. But as far as Ducati screens go, this is the top of the line. You can see there's a lot of info there, but it's laid out in an incredibly easy and intuitive way. The menu system is fantastic to go through. I do know there's a lot of controls and there's a lot of buttons, but if you sat on the bike for more than 5 seconds and just look at everything, you understand what it is. And the really cool thing that I think Ducati's done a fantastic job about is take a motorcycle that has huge capabilities of what it can do, and that's not really important, right? Because if a bike can do tons of stuff, but the user can't figure out how to do that stuff, they're not going to use it. Ducati's done the marriage of the job of making it be able to do a ton of things and making the end user able to understand and easily be able to figure stuff out. I have read nothing on this motorcycle about how to do stuff, and I can literally just intuitively do what I think I should do, and it works exactly like I would want it to. That's a really hard thing to do, and they did a phenomenal job with it. That's one of the things about the Multistrada. If you're one of those guys that likes changing mirrors out, you're gonna lose out on your blind spot monitoring. Stuff to keep in mind, I think the mirrors work visually really well with this bike, so I don't see a lot of people wanting to do that. But if you were going to do that, that would be a thing to think about. So guys, I know y'all love the first ride camera car footage, but we're gonna pull off up here and do a little walk around of the bike and show you guys some of the highlights, at least for me, on the looks of the Multistrada Rally. Hey, self-canceling turn signal. I didn't know if that was gonna work or not, and it did. I love the expensive bikes because everything you think about and you want it to do, it does. It's such a satisfying feeling where you're turning and you're like, I wonder if that turn signal is going to cancel. And then it does, and you're like, yeah, well, you have to remember what somebody would have to pay to get this motorcycle. And you're like, yeah, I'd want that too if I was paying that much. All right, guys, let's get her parked up and do a little walk around. Alrighty guys, 2023 Ducati Multistrada V4 Rally Edition. And guys, one of the cool things about this Multistrada is this livery that it has. We've got this brushed aluminum here. We got these panniers, obviously. I love the red line and how it kind of looks like it goes into the bike and then connects into the rear subframe. Very cool look. I am a huge fan of this. This might be my second favorite look of a Multistrada, only surpassed by the Pikes Peak Edition. I love that kind of race livery. Okay, so speaking of the livery, you guys are going to notice we have a brushed aluminum tank. So here's the cool thing. This tank is only slightly bigger than the regular Multistrada's tank, but instead of like some sort of plastic, this tank is made out of aluminum, which means it's thinner, and by doing that, they've increased the fuel capacity of this motorcycle from, I believe, 5.6 to almost 8 gallons. It's like 7.9 something. That's going to give this thing a range of, I believe, 280 something miles. That much range. This is getting this bike very close to those big tourers, so like Triumph's Tiger 1200 Explorer, and of course BMW's GSA. Those motorcycles do have more range than this motorcycle, but they all have very similar gas tanks, which is very interesting. I thought it was fascinating that they could literally just change the material of the tank and get that many more gallons out of it. That's just so cool to me. And also, I love the brushed aluminum look. We've got the same look on the swing arm and the gas tank of our R6M that we're building and giving away. That's how much I love the brushed aluminum look. I'm like, dude, I need to do a bike that can do that. Moving on, you can see the Skyhook suspension up here. That allows you to go off-road and get you a little more suspension travel. You can probably notice the extended ground clearance that this bike has. Again, this is a touring motorcycle that Ducati has the modes in and the capabilities to do more off-roading. I don't think you're going to do serious off-roading like single track or whatever like that. I think you're going to get an entirely different motorcycle for that. But honestly, for all the stuff I do, this bike can totally handle it. You guys can see we are chain driven. We do have that ABS front and rear, as you guys can see. And overall, solid machine. Check this out. I found this out. So right here are air vents that will blow air. You can push this and close them. There's literally a little push button there, and there's one of those on each side. How cool is that? So that way, if you want to funnel the air or not, you can do whatever you want. Let's just say wintertime, the bike's going to get hot. You don't want the air to be brushed away from the motor. You want the motor to warm you up. You close those up, you can get heated up by the engine. How cool is that? That's if you didn't want to use the heated stuff on the motorcycle. But overall, guys, I love the look of this Multistrada. You guys can let me know in the comments down below if you think there's a better looking one out there. I think this one might be in the number 2 slot. So, guys, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to grab my phone. Shout out to Quad Lock. We got a discount for Quad Lock too. I tell you guys this in every first ride, but if I have a sponsor for first rides or the channel in general, I normally try to get you guys a discount. So always check the description for discounts if you see the video's sponsors. Okay, so what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to get my phone. I'm going to record some videos for our Instagram and TikTok. At TikTok, we're at Chaseontwowheels, and on Instagram, we're at C2Pics. If you guys want to see some vertical stuff, go check us out over there. Otherwise, I'll be right back. Alrighty, guys, that's it for the vertical content. Now, let's do a steering stem lock test and then find out if this bike is a purchase or pass. I love how much the suspension firms up when I'm at a stop. Now I've got it turned on and it's kind of like actually being activated, but when the bike is turned off, it's just rock steady when it's not moving. I actually really like that. It's a weird feature to like, but I'm here for it. Alrighty, guys, let's get this thing locked all the way over. It's a multi. Let's see what's up. You guys already knew. You guys already knew. Top 30 percentile I give this giant mamma jamma. Alrighty, guys. Purchase or pass. Who the bike good for? Let's talk about it and finish this video up. Unfortunately, I could totally see myself just effing off into the distance on this thing and coming back right before the sun came down. That's what this bike makes you want to do. And now, before I get into purchase or pass, I will say I do have experience riding the Triumph 1200 Explorer, their Tiger. I do not have experience riding a BMW GSA. So those are the two, I feel like, major competitors of this bike. So I'm glad I have experience with at least one of them. And I can say without a shadow of a doubt, if I was grabbing one of those big ones, at least for me, I think I'm grabbing the Multi. I love the looks of this thing. I love this livery that it has. The brushed aluminum gets me every single time. My only issue is with $30,000, which, you know, it's roundabouts, right? Like, there's a lot of different modifications you can get for this bike specifically, an exhaust, panniers, whatever you want. At $30,000, I don't know if I would personally be comfortable with taking advantage of the off-road capabilities of this bike, because I'm going to be sitting there just thinking about how expensive it's going to be if I go down. That being said, if I were to get this motorcycle, I would get it for touring and touring only. Miles, long miles, and getting to fun roads and being able to take full advantage of those fun roads. I feel like that's where the pure joy of this bike comes from. That being said, I'm not in the financial class to be able to buy a $30,000 motorcycle right now, so I would have to pass on it. But if I was, and we can kind of like move into the ideal person for this motorcycle, you're going to get more range out of the Tiger and the GSA. I feel like the GSA is probably going to be a better off-road machine. If you are doing road touring and you want to very occasionally do light off-road, I think this is your one, dude. Which is kind of like me. Like, that's where I would sit. I don't plan on doing crazy off-road stuff. I'm not technically capable enough to do that right now in my riding career. So that's why the GSA wouldn't really work for me, because I feel like from what I've seen, that bike is far more capable off-road than it has any business being. But I don't know if it would be as fun as this V4 power plant in the Multistrada on asphalt. I love this thing. I've already asked Ducati if I can get a loaner one of these, because I honestly think I could put about 1,500 miles on one in a day and be totally okay. I don't know if that's possible, and I don't know if Ducati's going to let me do that, but I would love to put it to the test and see if I can actually do that. You guys have to stick around, sub to the channel to find out if that ends up happening. But, you know, ideal person for this bike, you value that aggressive like speed on the road and handling on the road, and you think that there might be a chance to do a couple little easy off-road rides. I think that's the ideal person for this bike. Goes without saying, you got to have mad cash and you got to be down for the Ducati stuff. I love the Ducati stuff. If I could afford it, I'd be a total Ducatista, or whatever they're called. I like the more aggressive road riding. Therefore, I kind of lean towards the Multistrada. That's its kind of home in the big touring bikes. All right, so guys, very sadly, that's going to bring me to the end of this first ride on the V4 Rally Multistrada. If you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button, and big shout out to my guys over at Mountain Motorsports. There's going to be a link in the description called Bike Provided By. If you guys want to check Mountain out, that is who provided this motorcycle, and for most of the first rides that we do, that's who provides them. If it wasn't for them, I would not be able to do this first ride series for you guys, so big shout out to them. They're a dealer here up in North Georgia with tons of inventory. They got like 5 or 6 locations all around, so check them out. I'm sure they've got a bike that you're looking for. And guys, that's all I've got. I'm Chaseontwowheels. Thank you guys for riding around with me. If you made it to this far in the video, you're in the outro crew. So after you like the video, put OC in your comment down below so I know you made it to the end of the video. And let me know, would you rather go with the Multistrada Rally, so the bigger tank, or would you want to go with a different model, maybe the V4S or the Pikes Peak? Which one would you go with and why? Let me know in the comments down below. And in case you guys are curious, I'll leave the Pikes Peak first ride here at the end of the video for you guys to check out. You guys ride safe. Later.